This road is quite astonishingly bad. Anyway, there we have a little one, just learning how to eat trees with an open mouth. And if you listen carefully, you can hear them talking to each other. Hello, my dear. I don't mean to cause you offence. You will tell me if you'd like me to leave, would you? She's a young mother, that one. I don't think she's more than... I wouldn't say she was more than the same age as those young males. 18 to 20 or so. She's not very big. And here comes a whole other group coming across. Claire, you're wondering when elephants reach their full size. Now, in theory, elephants keep growing until the day they drop dead, but, I mean, that can be quite difficult, but they will keep growing. I think they'll probably reach their full mass. I'm going to say from male about 50. About 50 years old. Possibly a little bit younger, maybe 45 or so, and then while they may still grow a little taller, I don't think they shrink. I think you'll find that their ability to maintain muscle mass, same as it is with human beings, probably reduces. I must apologise for the fact that we have a road in the shot, but there are just elephants all over it, and so, well, sometimes we just have to deal with human infrastructure, don't we? Lots and lots of them coming out of Arathusa onto Djuma. There's going to be a whole lot more coming out in front of us now. I'm not going to move. We'll get them coming relatively close by. Oh, and the young bull's having a tussle. There we go. Oh, look at this little thing now. It's very cross. Yes, hello. Don't fall. You'll look very ridiculous. See how it's seeking out the company of that cow who we originally saw, even though she's almost certainly not his mother. But they will all protect each other. The youngster's having a little bit of a box. Excuse the telegraph pole. It's not really a telegraph pole so much as an electricity pole, I think. I'm not sure they send telegraphs on it anymore. It's just so very quiet and peaceful. They won't be going to the club tonight, Fiam. They'll be going home for, I guess, some supper. Maybe they'll watch series. Friday nights used to be MacGyver. Do you remember that film?
Yeah, I dig MacGyver.
I liked MacGyver too. It was my favourite. Friday night MacGyver with a pizza. Delicious. It was before we realised that everything we ate was bad for us. Oh, very exciting. Look over there. Look who's there. Faith, I'm not going to link just yet if you don't mind, unless you're desperate. That is Fang. She's one of the most favourite elephants for all of our viewers, and for those of you who don't know, Fang, I don't know if we've seen her since then, but the last time I was around when Fang was seen, I was on a bushwalk, and Tristan had the most heart-rending sighting of her. It was really a quite astounding thing, where she was lying on the floor, seemingly about to give birth or in agony, and perhaps having a miscarriage or breech birth or something like that. And Tristan spent, I think, probably 2 hours with the elephant. And she lay there surrounded by her sisters and aunts and cousins, I guess. And they waited with her and waited with her while she writhed in pain on the ground, and we wondered if she wasn't going to die. That was the last time I had anything to do with her, and now here she is. That is most exciting. I didn't notice that at first because her squaff tooth was behind the trees. I'm sure many of you will be extremely happy to see her. She looks pretty pregnant to me. Let's wait for her to come out from behind there. What's interesting here is that she's also using that recurved tusk to pick branches. So she's, although it's almost certainly a deformation, I mean, it's definitely that she's deformed. And I'm told by Faith that the internet is breaking at the sight of Fang. So you're all very happy to see her. And why shouldn't you be? She's a very special lady, our Fang. Even if she could eat an apple through a tennis racket. Not so, Wiem.
Eat an apple through a tennis racket?
Yes, have you never heard that expression?
Never, no, I've heard it.
It's quite a good one, though.
What does it mean? It
means that your teeth are so protrude so far out of your mouth that you could eat an apple through a tennis racket. She's... Never mind, everyone. And you know, it's so unusual to be able to identify an elephant character like this. I mean, we've got our leopard characters because they stay in the same places, so we get to know them really well. And often we see the same elephants, but we don't realize they're the same elephants. Sinak, you want to know how many elephants are in Fang's herd. I don't know, Sinak. The last time we saw her, probably about 15 or 16 of them. It was quite a big herd. But there are elephants all over here now. So you'll probably find that it's at least 2 herds of elephants, 2 groupings. And I was just saying, she does use that tusk. She puts branches between it and the trunk and breaks them off. It is quite a formidable looking thing. And we've often wondered, of course, if she doesn't stab her own leg with it. Miss Lynn, you mustn't look at the wilderness like this. I know it's almost impossible, but you say, Fang, one less worry. You mustn't worry. Everything happens here in a way. I don't mean to get too philosophical about this, but while we're looking at her, I often used to, less so now, get worried about animals that I really like to see, and it used to give me some sort of almost sleepless nights. But I feel like they have such an acceptance of their lot in life, almost, that it's almost I don't know, it's almost, what should we say, patronizing to worry about them, you know? You know what I mean? But I do take, I take what you mean when you say one less worry. Well, here she is, one of our favourite elephant characters, if not our favourite elephant character. And she seems to be just fine. Alrighty, we're going to stay right here with Fang and her friends. While we do that, I believe Brent would like to bid you. Is it not working? Liam is dissatisfied with the sound I'm producing. How about now? 1, 2. 1, 2. It's tight. Is it right? 1, 2. 3, 4. Fang, Fang. Coming through the bush. It's still down.
You can stop now.
Yeah, I can stop now. Thank you. And there is that recurved tusk, and you can see why we're concerned about whether she might stab herself with it or not. But obviously, she's got tremendously used to having it. And now the afternoon really starting to settle. The odd drongo calling in the background. 1 or 2 of those white-browed scrub robins, bit of colour in the sky as the sun starts to move south. Bless you, Wiem.
No, sorry, I'm a bit allergic to eddies.
You're allergic to elephants, are you? I'm sorry about that. Let's go forward and see if we can't get a slightly better view. That's wonderful. I mean, I knew she was quite popular, but I perhaps didn't realise quite how popular. Ali, you say the best early Christmas present ever. Ali, well, that's wonderful. I'm glad we've given you an early Christmas present. It is wonderful to see her again. And looking very well. She's a big cow. I'd put her at least, say, 45 years old. At least. She's got quite a masculine build too. And by that I mean she's got a curved back. But she is definitely not a male. And they're talking to each other, just giving the odd grumble. Read something interesting today. And I always thought elephants were the exception, but if you look at Fang, you can see she isn't. Let me move forward again slightly. Human beings are the only species on Earth, well, the only mammal species, because nobody else doesn't apply to anyone else, that have permanently engorged mammary glands. In other words, every other species on Earth has large mammary glands only when they're feeding, and I hadn't realized the same about elephants, but if you look between her legs there, you can definitely see that she is a female, that she has lactated at some stage, but that she is not lactating at the moment. And so her teats are obviously enlarged from many calves, but they're clearly not engorged like they are in human beings, which I just think is rather fascinating. I didn't realize that until today.
What about a cow?
No, cows' udders also will... Liam just asked me what about a cow. And a cow's udders will absolutely reduce if she is not lactating, if she's not going to be milked. Next question, Vim. Any other questions you have about this subject? No? Kaylin, you're wondering about fermented fruits and whether animals eat fermented fruits. Possibly a question, Kaylin or Talon. You're Palin with a P. Palin with a P. You're probably wondering because, of course, there are apocryphal stories about elephants becoming drunk on marula fruits, and I think they will avoid. It's impossible for them to get drunk on marula fruits, first of all, but I also think that they will avoid eating fermented fruits because they just taste like rotten fruit, and unless they're desperate, I don't think they'll eat them. So I think they eat marula fruits because they taste nice, they're sweet, they're delicious, but I think that they would leave kind of rotting, fermenting ones alone, unless they had developed some sort of taste for it, but there's definitely no kind of alcoholic effect on them. They've crossed back over the road, and your leopard has not appeared yet. Do you have any idea why, Vim? Okay. All right, we can't go off-road to see Fang, I'm afraid, because she's headed into Arathusa, so I think we're going to carry on now and see what else we can find. We'll do a quick turn past where we thought Mvula might have been, and then I'm afraid I'm going to drag Vim kicking and screaming down towards Treehouse Dam and see if there isn't anything down that way. You see him? He's very sweet. Hello, little fellow. Pulling at the new green grass, the Panica maximum or Guinea grass. And being fairly flatulent about his existence. Elephants, of course, produce an astonishing amount of gas. In fact, any pure vegetarian does. I don't know about the human variety, but the animal variety definitely. Those with bacteria-filled stomachs. He's a wonderful fellow, totally relaxed around us, which is just great. I mean, to the extent of just not acknowledging our presence even. Still quite muggy and warm, so you can see him flapping his ears from time to time just to keep a little bit cool. What is the temperature now? Does the weather strap work? Ah, 87 and 30 degrees. So we've dropped off 2 degrees since we began. Spectra, nice question. You say, what is the weirdest deformity I've ever seen in an animal? I suppose it would have been in an elephant called Elvina. And Elvina had knees that bent the wrong way. And so she was unable to walk. I've told this dreadful story about her before. She could walk, but she could walk only very, very slowly. And she was part of a herd down at Londolozi. And for 4 years, I think, they walked with her and they stayed with her and they kept her going. And then one day they just left her. Who knows why, but they left her. She either got too weak to keep up with them, but eventually the herd detached from her and she was killed eventually by about 25 hyenas in the most harrowing, dreadful sighting. And I think that was probably the worst deformity that I've ever seen on an animal, certainly the one that was most crippling or most harmful. But even you see odd things on animals. You see impala with squaff horns, you see... You've never seen a deformed leopard. I've never seen any deformity in a leopard, I don't think. I just don't think they'd survive. So in those animals that will have help like this, I guess they'll survive beyond birth, basically. I mean, if a lion cub was born with some sort of deformity, she'd almost certainly die immediately because the mother would not make any effort to try and look after her. But elephants slightly different, wild dogs probably slightly different also. Okay, on we go.